The secret to Sahil's success, consistency, and growth. The beginning of a dream. Sahil sat on the edge of his bed in a small rented room in Mumbai, staring at the ceiling fan as it made its slow, lazy circles. The clock on the wall showed 6:30 a.m., but he had been awake since 4. Sleep had become a stranger to him. In the past few weeks, his thoughts were filled with worry, dreams, and a strange sense of restlessness that refused to leave. At 24, life had already taught him some tough lessons. Born in a middle class family, he had always seen his father struggling to run a small stationery shop. His mother stitched clothes at home to support the family income. They were honest people with simple dreams, but money was always tight. Education, food, rent, everything came with a price, and the price was often paid with sleepless nights and endless sacrifices. But Sahil was different. He carried in his heart a burning desire not to repeat the same life his parents had lived. He wanted more, not just for himself, but for them too. He wanted them to experience comfort, pride, and respect, the kind that money and success could bring. The problem was, dreams were free, but turning them into reality cost everything: time, effort, failures, and sometimes even relationships. And Sahil was ready to pay the price. The spark of an idea. It was during his college days that Sahil discovered his love for food, not just eating but also observing how people connected over it. He worked part time at a small cafe near his campus, serving coffee and sandwiches to the students and office persons. There, he noticed something. People didn't just come to eat food, they come for experience: the smile of the waiter, and the smell of the freshly baked bread, and the cozy music in the background. These little things made the cafe more than a place to eat. The owner of the cafe, Mr. Mehra, was a kind man in his 50s. He treated Sahil like his own son and often shared stories of how he started the cafe with just two tables and borrowed coffee machine. One rainy night, while they were having wiping tables and closing, Mr. Mehra said, "Sahil, people think running a food business is all about cooking. No, it's about making people feel at home. That's the real recipe, Sahil." Those words struck in Sahil's mind like a glue. He began to dream about opening his own restaurant one day. Not just a small place, but something unique, something people would talk about, a restaurant that offered great food, warmth, and memories. But dreams alone didn't pay the rent. The first struggle. After college, Sahil got a job in marketing firm. It was a dull 9 to 5 job with a fixed salary that barely covered his expenses. But he knew he needed money to start his dream, so he swallowed his pride and worked hard. Months turned into a year. He saved every rupee he could. No weekend trips, no expensive clothes, no fancy gadgets. While his friends posted Instagram stories of vacations, Sahil stayed late at the office tracking freelance project to earn extra. But even after 2 years of saving, when he checked his bank balance, the reality hit him like a punch. He had just enough to maybe just start a food cart, not just a full restaurant. It broke his heart. One evening, he visited his parents. His father noticed the tired look on his face and asked, "Son, what's wrong?" Sahil hesitated, but then he shared his dream about starting a restaurant. He expected that his father to scold him to be unrealistic. Instead, his father said something that he never forgot. "Sahil, dreams are expensive, but regret costs more even. If you believe in it, fight for it, we are with you." Those words lit a fire in him. Taking a leap. A few weeks later, Sahil made the boldest decision of his life. He quit his job with his saving and a small loan from his father's provident fund. He rented a tiny place in a busy street corner. It wasn't fancy, peeling paint on the walls, an old kitchen, wobbly chairs, but it was his. He named it a Flavor Junction. The idea was simple, affordable, tasty food with a homely touch. He decided to start small, some signature dishes, quick services, and warm environment. The first few weeks were full of excitement. He cooked, served, cleaned, and managed accounts, everything by himself. His mother helped in the kitchen, and a college friend designed a basic logo for free. But reality soon struck. The harsh reality. Opening day saw a decent crowd, mostly friends and relatives, but once the initial excitement faded, customers became fewer. Days went by when only 2 or 3 tables were occupied, sometimes none. Expenses piled up: rent, electricity, ingredients, staff salaries. His savings began to vanish faster than he expected. One night, after looking at the restaurant, Sahil sat alone at a table, staring at the empty chairs. The weight of failure crushed him harder. Maybe I made a mistake, he thought. But deep inside, a voice whispered, "This is just the beginning, don't give up." The first turning point. One evening, a food blogger accidentally discovered Flavor Junction while escaping the rain. She ordered a simple grilled sandwich and coffee. Sahil, as usual, served it with a genuine smile. The next day, she posted a glowing review on her Instagram page praising the food and the warm service. By evening, a group of youngsters visited, saying, "We saw the post, thought we didn't check this place out." Slowly, more people began coming. The sales improved slightly, giving Sahil a ray of hope. But success, as soon he realized, doesn't come with test. Betrayal and lessons. To handle the growing work, Sahil hired two helpers, Ramesh for the kitchen and the Vinod for cleaning and service. For few weeks, everything went smoothly, but then he noticed cash missing from the counter, small amounts at first and the bigger ones. One evening, he caught Vinod red-handed stealing money from the cash box. When confronted, Vinod didn't apologize. Instead, he said coldly, "You pay peanuts. What do you expect?" and walked out. It shattered Sahil. He had treated him like a family, shared meals with them, and this betrayal cut deep. But it also taught him a lesson. Trust is important, but blind trust can destroy everything. New ideas, new challenges. Instead of drawing in a self-pity, Sahil began learning about marketing through free online courses. He realized that in today's world, even the best food needed the right publicity. He shared an Instagram page of a Flavor Junction, posting pictures of dishes, behind the scenes moment, and the customers' reviews. He offered discounts for students and a free Wi-Fi to attract youngsters. The results were slowly but steadily. However, just when things were improving, the landlord dropped a bombshell. He was increasing the rent by 40%. It was like a punch to the gut. The breaking point. When rising cost and limited saving, Sahil faced the toughest decision: shut down or fight harder. One night, sitting alone in the dark restaurant, he thought about his parents, their sacrifices, and his own dreams. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He whispered to himself, "I can't lose, not like this." That night, he made a promise. He would turn Flavor Junction into a success story people would love to talk about, no matter what it took. The ray of hope. The next very day, a corporate employee who frequently visited the restaurant suggested something. "Why don't you start a corporate lunch delivery? Our office is always looking for good options." It was like a light bulb moment. Sahil immediately printed pamphlets offering affordable lunch boxes for offices. He started with 5 orders a day. Within a month, it grew to 50. The extra income helped him to survive the landlord's rent hike and kept him restaurants running. For the first time in months, Sahil felt like things were finally moving in the right direction. But Faith had other plans. Just when the life seemed stable, a massive storm hit the Mumbai one night. The next morning, Sahil rushed to the restaurant only to find the roof leaking, furniture damaged, and the kitchen is a mess. The repair costs were huge, money he didn't have. Standing in the middle of the broken restaurant, rain stopped dripping from ceiling. Sahil felt his dream slipping away. But little did he know this disaster was about to lead him to biggest turning point of his life. The rain had stopped, but the sky still looked dark and heavy as Sahil stood inside a flavor junction staring at the wreckage left behind the storm. The tables were soaked, the walls smelled of dampness, and the kitchen looked like a battlefield. He felt his throat tightened and he looked at a broken signboard lying on the ground outside the entrance. It was if the storm hadn't just destroyed his restaurant, it has destroyed a soul. For a long moment, he just stood there in the silence, his dreams, his sleepless nights, his struggle. It all seemed to collapse in front of his eyes. Maybe this is a sign to stop, he thought bitterly. Maybe the universe is telling me I am not meant for this. But deep inside, a small voice whispered, or maybe it's a test to see how much you can handle before you win. Father's support. That evening, Sahil went home exhausted, his clothes still wet from the rain. His parent immediately noticed something was wrong. His mother asked softly, "What happened, son?" Sahil told them everything. The storm, the damages, the expenses he couldn't afford. He expected his father to be disappointed or maybe angry. But instead, his father placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Sahil, do you remember what I told you? Regret costs more than dreams. You can fix a broken roof, you can buy a new tables, but don't let your dream break." Sahil's eyes burned with tears, but he nodded silently. His father then did something unexpected. He handed Sahil a small envelope with some cash. "It's not much," he said, "but it can help you to start again." Sahil knew how hard it would be a father to save money. That envelope wasn't just cash, it was years of sacrifice wrapped in the paper. He decided right then he would not give up. Help from the stranger. The next morning, while Sahil was cleaning the restaurant, a man in his late 30s stopped by. He introduced himself as Arjun, a contractor who lived nearby. "I saw the damage," Arjun said. "I can help you to fix the place at a minimal cost. Pay me later when the business picks up." At first, Sahil hesitated. He had learned the hard way not to trust people blindly after Vinod's betrayal. But sometimes about Arjun felt genuine. Maybe it was the kindness in his eyes, or maybe it was because he didn't demand money upfront. Sahil agreed. Over the next week, Arjun started and his team worked tirelessly. They fixed the roof, repainted the walls, and even built a small delivery counter at no extra cost. When Sahil thanked him, Arjun smiled and said, "Sometimes we all need a little help to get back on our feet. Just promise me you will make this place successful." That promise became Sahil's new mission, the new beginning. When Flavor Junction reopened after repair, Sahil decided to start fresh, with better service, with better marketing, and with a dream. He invested the little money he had into creating a digital presence. He started posting regular photos, short videos, and dishes being made, customer enjoying meals, and even funny behind the scenes moment. He collaborated with local food bloggers, offering them free meals in exchange of reviews. Slowly, people began noticing the place again. The corporate lunch delivery service also grew. Soon, Sahil was sending out 80 to 100 lunch boxes every day. It wasn't a huge profit, but it was enough to keep the business running. And unexpected opportunity. One evening, a well-dressed man walked into the restaurant. He introduced himself as Rajat Malhotra, the manager of big event manager company. I tried your food at one of the office. Rajat said, we have a corporate event next month. Can you handle catering of 200 people? Sahil's heart skipped a beat. He had never handled such a big order before, but he knew opportunity like this didn't come once. Yes, he said without hesitation. Through inside he was panicking. The next few weeks were whirlwind of planning, cooking trials and sleepless nights. With Arjun's help and his mother's support, Sahil managed to pull it off. The event was huge success. People loved the food, and the Rajat promised to recommend Flavor Junction to other people and other companies also. It felt like the first big break. Trouble in disguise. But success often attracts the wrong kind of attention. One day, Sahil noticed a new restaurant opening just 2 blocks away. It called Spice Hub, and to his shock, the owner was none other than Vinod, the same man who had stolen his money months ago. Spice Hub offered heavy discount, flashy interiors, and loud music. Slowly, some of the Sahil's regular customers began drifting there out of curiosity. It hurts. Why does life keeping testing me? Sahil wondered. But instead of panicking, he decided to fight back directly. The power of consistency. Sahil realized he couldn't compete on discounts or flashy interiors, but he didn't have that kind of money. But there was one thing he had, and it was consistency. He made sure the food quality at Favor Junction always top notch, no compromise, no shortcuts. He greeted every customer personally, remembered their preferences, and made them feel valued. While Spice Hub changed chefs every few weeks and received mixed reviews, Flavor Junction slowly built a loyal customer base that kept coming. Consistency became Sahil's secret weapon. Growth through innovations. As months passed, Sahil introduced new ideas, a small weekend live music night where local singers performed, a loyalty card system offering discounts after every visit, a feedback wall where customers could post suggestions and appreciate the notes. The restaurant slowly turned into more than just a food place, it became a community spot. One evening, a customer told him, Sahil, coming here feels like visiting a friend's house. That's why we love this place. Those words meant more than any profit he could earn. A big setback. Just when the things were finally looking good, disaster struck again, this time the form of citywide health inspection drive. Many small restaurants, including Flavor Junction, were temporarily shut down for minor license paperwork issues. It was humiliating. Some started spreading rumors that his food was hygiene. It wasn't true. For 2 weeks, the restaurant remained closed. Expenses kept piling up while income stopped completely. Sahil felt like crying some nights. He had worked so hard and now this, but he refused to quit. Fighting back, he quietly completed all the paperwork, upgraded the kitchen hygiene standards, and invited the inspector again. When Flavor Junction reopened with a clean chit, Sahil posted a video on social media thanking customers or the consumers for the patience and promising even better service. The video went viral locally. People appreciated his honesty and courage to bounce back after setbacks. Business doubled in the following weeks. The twist before success. One day, Rajat, the event manager, returned with even bigger news. A five-star hotel is hosting a food festival next month. He said, they want unique local restaurants to participate. I want Flavor Junction. Are you interested in it? Sahil couldn't believe it. A chance to showcase his food at a premium event. It was like a dream. But he also knew this was a high risk. A failure even could ruin the reputation permanently. After a sleepless night, he decided to take a leap. The day of the food festival arrived. Big brands with expensive stalls surrounded Flavor Junction Small's counter. Sahil looked around nervously. He had invested all his saving into the event. If it worked, it would change his life. It failed. He didn't even want to think about it. Taking a deep breath, he whispered to himself, this is my moment. I won't let it sleep. What happened next would change Sahil's journey forever. The breakthrough to battles. The food festival grounds buzzed with energy, bright banners waved in the wind, music floated through the air, and the smell of hundreds of dishes mingled into the mouth of judges. Sahil stood behind Flavor Junction's small counter, heart pounding in his chest. Around him were big players, luxury hotels, celebrity chefs, and brands with fancy stalls that glittered with lights and decorations. In comparison, his stall looked simple. But Sahil believed in one thing, let the food do the talking. The first hour, silence. As the festival began, some people swarmed in the big stalls. Long queues formed at a celebrity chef counters, while Flavor Junction sat almost empty. Sahil served a few curious visitors who stopped by, but most moved on quickly. Doubt crept in. Did I make a mistake investing so much money here? He wondered, his palms sweaty. His mother, who had came to help, saw the worry on his face and whispered, son, have patience. Good things take time. The turning point. By late afternoon, Flavor Junction had the longest queue at the festival. People skipped expensive stalls and tasted the food of Sahil's. Even some people came back for the second and third time. A local food vlogger live streamed from the stall saying, guys, this is the best food at the festival, affordable, delicious, and made me so much love. By evening, all the Sahil stock was sold. As he packed up, exhausted but smiling, he didn't yet realize that this day had changed everything for his life. The aftermath of success. The next morning, social media buzzed with posts about Flavor Junction. Local newspaper covered the story of small restaurant that stole the show. Calls started pouring in, corporate catering requests, party orders, collaboration offers. For the first time since opening his restaurant, Sahil felt like he was finally on the right path. He decided to expand. Expanding the dream. With the profits from the festival and the growing catering orders, Sahil rented a bigger kitchen space. He hired 2 experienced chefs, delivery staffs, and even a social media manager to handle online marketing. The corporate lunch service tripled. Weekends saw huge crowds at the restaurant. Sahil introduced a simple menu for health-conscious customers: salads, low-oil dishes, and fresh juices, which became instantly popular among young professionals. But with grew a bigger challenges. The competitors move. Vinod, The owner of Spice Up wasn't happy watching Flavor Junction ride. He began spreading false humors about Sahil's food quality and bribed a few local suppliers to delay Sahil ingredient services. One evening, a food inspector suddenly appeared at Sahil's restaurant after an anonymous complaint. Thought everything was clean, the harassment was obvious. It hurt Sahil deeply. He had once trusted Vinod, given him work, shared meals with him, and now Vinod was trying to destroy everything that he built. But instead of fighting back with anger, Sahil focused on improving his brand image. He posted kitchen hygiene video online, introduced customer reviews cards online, and invited popular blogger to visit without notice. Transparency begins his weapon like against the lies. Personal struggles. Amid business chaos, Sahil's personal life suffered. He worked 16 hours a day, barely saw his parents, and had no time for his friends. His health began to decline, late night meals, no exercise, constant stress. One night, he fainted in the kitchen from exhaustion. His mother begged him, Sahil, money is important, but your health is priceless. Don't lose yourself while building your dream. The world hits him harder. He realized that success meant nothing if he wasn't alive to enjoy it. From the next day, he started tasks, hiring managers, and taking Sunday off to rest and spread time with family. A surprise offer. Months later, an investor named Karan Singh visited the restaurant. Impressed by its popularity, he offered to fund Flavor Junction expansions into the chain of outlets in the city. Sahil was tempted. It was the chance to grow bigger, faster, but Karan wanted 60% ownership in the exchange of the investment. It meant Sahil would lose all the control over his dream. He spent sleepless nights thinking money could bring growth, but was it worth giving away his vision? Finally, he refused the offer, deciding him to grow slowly but kept full ownership. It was a tough call, but one that would define his future. The franchisee idea. Instead of giving control to outsider, Sahil launched a franchisee model. He invited small investors to open Flavor Junction outlets under his brand name while providing recipes, training, and quality control. The emotional reunion. One evening, as Sahil was looking the restaurant, he saw Arjun, the contractor who had helped him to repair the place after the storm. Sahil ran to him and said, Brother, the success is because of you too. If you hadn't helped me then, none of this would exist. Arjun smiled and said, I only fixed walls, Sahil. You built the dream. Sahil invited him for dinner. They laughed, remembering the tough early days. It reminded Sahil to always stay humble no matter how big he came. The betrayal uncovered. Meanwhile, Vinod's Spice Hub suddenly shut down. Rumors spread that Vinod had taken huge loans and failed to repay them. Some said his unhygienic practices had led to the food poisoning incident that ruined his reputation. Sahil felt no joy in Vinod's downfall. He simply thought, when you build on lies, the walls eventually collapse. The award night. Months later, Sahil received an invitation to the City Food Excellence Award. To his shock, Flavor Junction won the little title of Best Emerging Restaurant or Brand of the Year. The calm before the storm. The next few months were like the calm before the biggest storm of Sahil's startup have ever faced. Customer base was expanding. Sahil's face was appearing in online magazines as one of the top 30 entrepreneurs to watch. Sahil, one day while resting Between meeting, his mother called, Sahil, you promised to come dinner last Sunday. What happened? Sahil paused. He realized that he didn't visited home almost from 2 months. Sorry, Mama, the startup is eating me alive, Sahil said softly, trying to hide his exhaustion. The big breakthrough. One day, out of nowhere, a viral tweet changed everything. Most popular influencer, Sahil startup helped him to business grow by 200% in the sales. Sahil food was very much tasty, he tell in this influencer's Instagram account, and the influencer also told this person is amazing. After a year, Sahil has launched 20 plus outlets over the cities. At one day, at sitting in his headquarters at the same place where all it started, Sahil was getting emotional. He questioned to himself, what came me to here? How did I came to here? And then the answer said, it was because of my hard work, my dedication, and the consistency I have put in the efforts of my restaurant. That's why I have came here. He now he used to time spend with his mother, with his father, and with his little sister. The family reunion was very much happy. And that's how he ended his story like this. And now he was planning to grow to 30 restaurants to a 40 to hundreds to thousands restaurants. And that was his vision. The untold story behind a startup's massive growth. Suman's life had never been easy. Born in a small town with narrow lanes and people who measured dreams by the size of their wallets, he always felt like he didn't belong there. The town was filled with same stories: sons becoming clerks, daughters getting married early, fathers running small shops, mother counting the monthly expenses like an endless ritual. Life in that town was predictable, safe, and suffocating. But Suman was different. He was quiet, observant, and carried an unusual fire in his eyes. A fire that people often mistook for arrogance but was actually a hunger for something bigger, something beyond the dusty boundaries of the small town. He didn't have many friends because of most of the boys of his age were happy with evening cricket matches, gossip near the tea stalls, and dreaming about government jobs. Suman, however, spent his evening reading borrowed books under the dim streetlight outside his house. His father, Raghunath, ran a small stationery shop that barely made enough money to keep the family afloat. His mother, Meera, was the pillar of the household, always calm, always supportive, but she too knew they were surviving, not living. Suman often looked at his father, counting coins late at night, his tired hands shaking slightly, his forehead lined with worry about the school fees and pending bills. Those sights craved something deep inside Suman. He hated money not because it was evil but because its absence made people small, made them bend, made them break silently. At school, Suman wasn't the brightest student, but he was curious. He asked too many questions, often irritating teachers who preferred obedient students over sharp ones. When the science teacher taught about electricity, Suman wanted to know how the power stations were built. When the economics teacher explained supply and demand, Suman asked why some business failed despite high demand. The teachers had no time for his unnecessary curiosity, but Suman kept searching for answers in old newspaper, magazines, and some things in random conversation with traveling passengers through the town's bus stand. That was his only window to outside world, strangers with stories bigger than his own town could ever hold. The seed of dream. The turning point came when Suman was 16. One evening, he was returning home from school when he saw a man in a crisp shirt step outside of a shiny car near the tea stall. The car itself was a rare sight in the town. People gathered instantly, whispering about the man's success. He runs a business in the city, someone said. Exports something, making good money, another added. Suman couldn't take his eyes off from the man. It was in the car, not the expensive watch on his wrist. It was the confidence in his walk, the way he ordered tea without looking at the price list, the way people listed when he spoke. That night, Suman couldn't sleep. He kept imagining, what if would be I be like build something of his own to create a life where money wasn't counted by coin, a business that word felt powerful like a key of freedom. But dreams are fragile in small towns. The moment Suman mentioned to his father that he wanted to start a business someday, Raghunath's tired eyes filled with anger. Business? Do you even know what are you saying? We don't have money for risk, Suman. Get a degree, find a job, live safely. Don't chase illusions. His father's words were heavy, but they couldn't kill the spark. They only made it to burn more brighter. College days and struggle begins. Suman managed to get admission in a city college through scholarships and endless sacrifices by his mother, who secretly sold her gold bangles to pay for the hostel fee. He promised her he would study well, but once in the city, he realized the world moved much faster than he had imagined. Students around him wore branded clothes, carried expensive phones, spoke English fluently, and discussed weekend trips like it was nothing. Suman felt small, like a dust particle in a storm, but instead of feeling defeated, he was observed. He noticed how money flowed in the city, cafes full even on weekends, students buying gadgets worth months of his father's income, small businesses running outside college gates making more money in a day than his father's shop made in a week. He started reading about startups in the library, about young people building company from scratch and realizing money from investors. The story fascinated him. Flipkart, Ola, Paytm, PhonePe, etc. Ordinary people turning ideas into empires. But reality was harsh. Suman barely had money for meals, let alone for experiments. He worked part time at a photo coffee shop near a college, earning just enough to survive. At night, he read about business models, marketing, customer psychology, anything he could find for free online. The first idea and the first failure. In the second year, Suman launched his first tiny venture, a notebook delivery service for honest hostel students. He borrowed 2000 from a senior, bought notebook in bulk at wholesale rates and sold them at slightly higher price directly in hostels, saving students the trip to make the market. For a month, it worked. He made some profit, felt the thrill of earning on his own terms, but soon others copied the idea, prices crashed, and he was left with unsold stock. His friends laughed, senior advised him to focus on studies, and his father scolded him for wasting time. But Suman learned his first lesson: ideas are easy, execution and uniqueness are everything. Life hits hard. In the final year of the college, tragedy struck. Suman's father fell seriously ill and the family fragile finances collapsed under medical bills. Suman skipped meals to send money home from his part time jobs. He even considered quitting college, but his mother begged him to finish. One evening, after visiting his father in the hospital, Suman sat alone on the bench outside, tears burning his eyes. He felt angry at life, at poverty, at himself for being powerless. That night, he made a silent promise. He would build something big, something that would never let his family suffer again. He didn't know how. He didn't have money, contacts, and experience. All he has was desperation and sometimes the strongest fuel of all, the mysterious mentor. One day, while working at the photocopy shop, Suman met a man named Arvind who often came to print documents. Arvind was in his 40s, calm, sharp eyed, and always reading beginners business magazines. Over time, they started talking. Arvind had once worked in a corporate sales before quitting to consult small businesses. When someone shared his dreams, Arvind didn't laugh like others. Instead, he asked, "Do you have the courage to fail multiple times?" Suman nodded. "Good," Arvind said, "because business is 90% failure, 10% success, and that 10% comes only if you learn from the 90." Arvind became an informal mentor, lending Suman books, teaching him basics of sales, marketing, customer behavior. He didn't give money, nor only knowledge. The spark of the real startup idea. During his final semester, Suman noticed a problem. Small businesses around the city had good products but zero online presence. They relied on foot traffic while big brands dominated online sales. What if there was a simple platform to bring these small businesses online quickly, cheaply, and efficiently? The idea hit him like lightning. It was glamorous, like building the next Facebook, but it solved a real problem he saw daily. He shared it with Arvind, who smiled and said, "Now this has potential, but ideas are nothing. Can you build it?" Suman didn't know how to code, didn't have money for developers, didn't even own a laptop, but he had the fire. The first step into the storm. After graduating with no jobs offer and mounting family pressure, Suman took a risky decision. He would build a startup from scratch. He convinced two friends, Rohit, a tech geek, and Manish, a marketing enthusiast, to join him. They named it BizRise, symbolizing small businesses rising online. The first pitch to local shopkeeper failed miserably. "Online? We'll buy our products on the internet." They laughed. But Suman didn't stop. He kept approaching shopkeepers, refining the pitch, and slowly a few agreed to it. That shopkeeper hugged Suman, tears in his eyes. "You changed my business, son." Those words kept Suman going. But success comes with storms. Competitors started emerging, funds ran out, Rohit got a good job offer and wanted to quit. Manish fought with Suman over unpaid expenses. To make things worse, Suman's father passed away after the month of illness. The loss broke him completely. He felt like shutting everything down. What was the point of building a future when the person he wanted to make proud wasn't there anymore? One rainy night, sitting alone in the tiny office, Suman almost decided to quit. The city outside was buzzing, but inside him, everything felt empty. Then he remembered his father's tired hands counting coins, his mother selling jewelry for his education, and the shopkeeper thanking him for changing his business. He wiped his tears. "No," he whispered to himself, "I can't stop here. This is just the beginning." The rain outside kept feeling as if the sky itself mourned along with Suman. The little office room where he sat smelled of the damp walls and cold instant noodles. His father's death had left a hole that no success could fill. But what future The startup had no left, his team was breaking apart, and life had just been delivered the heaviest blow yet. On 13th day after the funeral, Suman sat with his mother. Meera looked at him quietly for a while before speaking. Son, she said softly, your father always wanted you to do better than him. He didn't want you to count coins like he did all of his life. If you stop now, everything he suffered for will be wasted. Her words hit Suman hard. He realized grief could either break him forever or become the fire that rebuilt him. That night, he wrote one line in his diary, I will make Bizriz a name people will remember. The struggle to survival. The next morning, Suman called Rohit and Manish for a meeting. Rohit looked tired. Suman, I got a job offer from a software company. I can't work here for free anymore. Manish added, we don't even have money for internet bills. How long will this go on? Suman listened quietly. He knew they were right. Passion couldn't pay rent. Dreams didn't feed empty stomachs. Give me 3 months, Suman said finally. If we don't make real progress, you can leave. But let's give the last shot. They hesitated but agreed. Those 3 months became the toughest of their life. They worked on improving the platform, learning digital marketing through free YouTube tutorials, approaching small businesses door to door, often hearing insults like stop wasting our time, no will we buy online, go get real jobs. Some days they sold nothing, some nights they felt hungry, but slowly tiny cracks of hope appeared. A few more businesses signed up. One bakery reported a 20% increase in the sales after going online. A boutique got its first out of city order. But it wasn't much. It was a proof that BizRise could work. The betrayal. Just when the things looked slightly better, disaster struck from within. One evening, Suman found out that Manish had secretly approached a competitor with the client list, hoping to get the job there. The betrayal cut him deeper. Suman confronted him. Why, Manish? After everything we have been through. Manish looked away. I am tired, Suman. Tired of being broke. Tired of your dreams that don't pay bills. I need security. He left that night, taking him not just the data but also the trust. Rohit was furious, ready to quit too, but Suman begged him to stay. Just you and me now, Rohit. We can still do this. Rohit stayed, but the betrayal left the scars that made Suman more curious about people, about trust, about the blind faith in loyalty. The ray of hope. First investor meeting. With someone revenue tracking in, Suman started looking for investors. He learned about pitch decks and seed funding from a free blogs because hiring consultants was impossible. He applied to 10 startup incubators, got rejected by 9, but one small accelerator in Bangalore invited him to pitch. Suman Rohit traveled in a crowded bus for 12 hours carrying a borrowed laptop and wearing their decent shirts. The investor listened silently as Suman spoke about the India's small business, about dreams locked behind the shop counters, about the BizRise could unlock them. For the first time, Suman saw someone nod seriously. We like the idea, one investor said, but you have no proper team, no financial model, no tech roadmap. It's too risky to invest. They didn't get the funding, but one mentor from that event, woman named Kavya, gave Suman her card. Call me, she said. Your passion is raw but real. You need guidance. Mentorship under Kavya. Kavya had built and sold 2 startups. Under her mentorship, Suman learned what real business planning looked like. Customer acquisition costs, revenue projects, marketing funnels. She didn't surrogate or sugarcoat anything. Without numbers, passion is just noise, she told him. Suman and Rohit restructured everything pricing, plans, website designing, onboard process. They started small subscription fees instead of one time charges. It was risky, but some business left, but the serious one stayed. Revenue grew slightly, confidence grew a lot. The twist Rohit's departure. Just when the things felt stable, Rohit got an offer from a top tech firm, double the salary, comfortable life, no sleepless night. Suman, he said awkwardly. I stayed after Manish left because I believed in you, but I have family and responsibilities too. Suman felt like the ground was slipped beneath his feet. So you are leaving too? Rohit nodded. I am sorry. And just like that, Suman was all alone. Rock bottom. Running Bizrise alone was hell. Suman became the salesman, the marketer, customer support, everything. He worked 16 hours a day, surviving on a tea and cheap biscuits. Some days he thought about quitting, the loneliness was crushing him, the city felt like a giant machine designed to crush dreamers like him. But then he get a message from a shopkeeper, got 2 more online orders today and keep going. He hired interns from college, paying them peanuts but sharing his vision passionately. Some left after weeks, some few stayed because they believed. The unexpected breakthrough. One evening, a journalist from a small business magazine called. Someone had told her about BizRice helping local shops go online. They published a story titled Small Startup Empowering Small Businesses. The article went madly viral. Suddenly, BizRice got calls from 5 new clients. Shopkeepers wanted to know how to join. For the first time, Suman felt the wind changing direction. Growth and new challenges. With funding, Suman hired a small team, developer, salesperson, marketers. They moved into a proper office. BizRice expanded into 5 cities, but growth brought new problems: server crashes, customers complained, team conflicts, competitors copied features, investor demand faster results. Suman often slept on the office, overwhelmed but determined. The emotional pull. Amidst all this, his mother had started declining. She missed him. He was always busy. One night, she said softly, Suman, don't lose yourself while building a company. Money matters, but so do the people waiting for you home. Her words stayed with him. That night, Suman stood on the office balcony watching the glowing skyline of the city. Something inside him shifted. The news about the giant tech company entering the niche had shaken them blindly. For the first time in months, he felt a familiar fear creeping back, the fear of losing everything he had built with sleepless nights, broken friendship, and years of struggle. But Suman was no longer the same boy who once got rejected at every shop door. He had survived betrayal, hunger, loneliness, and the grief. This time, he promised himself he would fight back harder than ever. The investor pressure. The next day, Suman met with an investor, Raj Malhotra. The main angel investor didn't mince words. Suman, this new competitor has deep pockets. They can crush you with marketing spend. What's your plan? Suman took a deep breath. They have money, we have trust. Our shopkeepers see us as the partners, not just the service providers. We will focus on customer relationship, hyper-local marketing, and the unique features that they can't copy easily. Raj raised an eyebrow. Sounds idealistic. I hope you have numbers to back it up. Suman showed growth charts, testimonials, then it brought him time, but he knew investors were like weather, supportive when the sun shone, disappearing when the storms hit. Competitors move. Within a week, the big tech company launched a flashy ad campaign. Bring your shop online in 24 hours, powered by X Crop. Billboards, TV ads, social media influencers. The whole city buzzed with the name. Some big rise. Clients got cold feet. A few even left. Suman teams panicked. Rohit, who had left months ago but still cared, messaged Suman, "This looked tough, buddy. Need any tech help?" Suman replied, "Not now, I will handle it." He wanted to win this on his own terms. The sleepless nights. Suman stopped going home. He slept in the office, surviving on the black coffee and the determination. The team worked 14 hours a day, brainstorming way to retain customers. Loyalty rewards for shopkeepers, free training on online selling, a new AI-based recommendation engine for products. Money was tight, they couldn't outspend the competitor, so they decided to outsmart them. Emotional toll. One evening, Suman mother's called. Her voice was weak. "Suman, when you will come home? You sound tired." "I will, Mama, soon," he said, starting at a pile of unfinished work. "You are running after success, son. But remember, people who love you also need your time." Her word hurts, but because they were true, but Suman couldn't stop now. Too much was at stake. The ray of hope. The festival campaign. Diwali was approaching. Suman launched a campaign called Local Lights Global Reach, helping small shops sell festival products online with zero commission for a month. It exploded. Customers loved buying directly from local sellers. Media outlets covered it as the startup that saved local businesses this Diwali. Orders tripled, shopkeeper praised, biz rise everywhere. Even the big competitor noticed but couldn't copy instantly because Suman's campaign was too localized and personal. For the first time in months, the team smiled again. The return of Rohit. Out of the blue, Rohit visited the office. "I have been following the campaign," he said. "You have built something solid, Suman. I want to come back, this time full time, no salary, till we rise to the next town." Suman's eyes softened. "Are you sure? Things are still shaky." Rohit nodded. "I left for money earlier. I realized I want to build, not just to code for someone else." The old dream spirit regained. The second funding round. Kavya introduced Suman to a group of impact investors, people who invested not just for profit but also for social good. They loved BizRise's mission of empowering small businesses. After multiple rounds of grilling or grinding, financial models, growth projections, and risky, they offered 1 crore for 15% equity. For Suman, it felt like breathing after years underwater. Scaling up. With fresh funds, BizRise expanded 20 cities. They hired proper tech teams, customer support, marketing experts. The personal blow. Amidst all this, Suman's mother felt seriously ill. Doctor said she needed a surgery. Suman left a wave of guilt. He had money now but no time. He stayed at the hospital for nights, laptop in one hand, her fragile hand in another. After a successful surgery, she smiled weakly. "I am fine, son. Now go, build your dream." Tears blurred Suman's eyes. She said always been her silent strength. The competitor strikes again. Just when the thing stabilized, the giant competitor announced free services for 1 year, backed by massive funding. Investors panicked. Some advised Suman to sell BizRise before it's too late. The twist. Shopkeepers unite. Before Suman could decide, something unexpected happened. Hundreds of shopkeepers wrote on social media, "We choose Bizrights because they stood with us when no one did." Big companies see us as a number, Bizrights see us as a people. The loyalty stunned even investors. Suman realized he had built more than a company, he had built a community. The game changing idea. Bringing a brainstorming season, Rohit suggested, "What if we create a shopkeeper success fund? A portion of profit goes to help small sellers expand their shops, loans, training, digital tools." It was crazy, it was risky. Suman loved it. The fund launched with huge publicity. Shopkeepers felt emotionally invested in BizRike's success now. Leaving for the competitor became even harder for them. One evening, Suman got an email from an unknown sender. Subject: "I have information that can destroy a company. Pay if you want it silent." It was a blackmail. Suman stared at the screen, heartbeat racing. Inside the email could be the biggest twist of his life. Suman sat by the large glass window in her small apartment, staring at the twinkling lights of the city had now become both his battleground and his home. He remembered the first day he had stepped into the city with nothing but a dream in his heart and stubborn belief that he could build something meaningful. Now, after of struggles, failures, and small victories, his startup had finally reached a point where the world had started noticing. But the journey to this point had not been easy. It had taken everything from him. The last few months, he had been a storm for changes. Investors had came on board after turning point with the viral story. The platform had grown exponentially. New features were launched and the user base had shot past 500,000 just a 6 months. But with rapid growth came a new challenge: scaling the infrastructure, managing the growth team, and the most importantly, handling the expectations of the people who had put their trust in his vision. One evening, as Suman sat in meeting with his core team, they brought up the need to expand internationally. Suman, said Rohit, his head of marketing, "We have captured a massive audience here. But if we want to make this truly big, we need to think beyond borders. The competition is already watching us closely. If we don't move fast, someone else will replicate what we are doing." Suman leaned back, his mind swirling with thoughts. Expanding internationally was a dream, yes, but it required a lot of money, planning, and the right partnerships. "Let's take it on one step at a time," he said calmly. "I don't want us to run before we learn to walk properly. We will expand, but only when we are sure we can deliver the same value we promise here." His team nodded, but he could sense the growing pressure. Success, he realized, was a strange thing. When he had nothing, he fought just to survive. When you had something, you fought to protect it. The biggest twist. Just when everything seemed to be moving forward smoothly, disaster struck. One morning, news broke that rival company had raised a massive funding around preparing a launch a similar platform with better technology. Investors starting calling Suman, asking about the company's strategy to handle the competition. The team panicked. "They have more money," Suman said Raghav during an emergency meeting. "They can outspend us in the marketing, offer bigger discounts, and can crush us before we even get a chance to fight." Suman stayed silent for a moment. Then he said firmly, "Money can build products, but it cannot build trust. we have users' trust. The turning point. The biggest break came when an international venture capital firm approached Suman with a huge funding offer. They had been watching his journey with an were impressed by how he had built something even from scratch with limited resources. But there was a condition. They wanted him to scale the startup globally within the next year. It was a massive decision. Scaling globally meant sleepless nights, more risk, the stepping into the markets where no one knew what it could be happen. To build something was the impact of millions. Suman took a leap. The final scene. Months later, Suman visited his hometown again. He had bought a beautiful house for his parents and to set up a charitable foundation to help young entrepreneurs from small towns. As he sat with her father on the porch of the new home, watching the sunset, he smiled and said, "You did it, Suman. You built your empire, and this is your time. You didn't build it alone." Suman smiled back, tears in his eyes. His journey had become a full circle. From a small town boy with just a dream, the founder of a global startup empire, Suman's story became a symbol of resilience, courage, and the power of never giving up. And through he knew challenges would keep coming, he was no longer afraid because he had learned one thing: dreams may start small, but with courage and persistence, they can grow beyond imaginations.